Welcome everybody. How we doing? What's happening? What's happening? Burnt Peanut here. Always. Yeah, that rocket flow went crazy. That's like I don't know, somebody mentioned it on Trade Floor. Tilio's the best guy I know at Flow. If he's posting it, he didn't just see a big flow hit. He'll match it up with the charts. He'll match it up with something fundamental. He'll match it up with all kinds of different things to give a lot of reasons to be in that trade. He's very good at identifying themes. And with some of the stuff we have that goes on in the market nowadays, it's going to be a wildly powerful tool. I mean, you know, people always say somebody always knows. And that's not entirely true, but we have seen a lot of it this year. And so I'm sure Tilly will be picking up on some of that.
What gets his attention, River? Is it the just amount of like volume behind the trade or
Uh, it's so much because that's the thing. We've all seen it. Most flow is useless. Like even like big money. Like think about Tesla. Wonderful example. You go back a couple of weeks and people are posting $1 million flow orders for Tesla 800 calls that are absolutely obliterated right now. So flow is for the most part not super helpful. He has a whole bunch of different little filters and everything he uses. And then, like I said, he's not going to post it just because it's a bunch of money. He's going to post it when there is a lot of reason behind the trade. He's still going to do any of his normal technical and fundamental analysis to, figure out why did these people make this trade. And if it makes sense to him, then that's when he'll post it. So it's not just like normal flow that we see like, random people post on Trade Floor or whatever that are like,
because
look at someone put $12,000 in Tesla or something dumb like that. It is well thought out.
he's
And he has,
wildly consistent with it.
yeah, it's a high win rate, 85%, but you do see the funny side of it where big money is wrong sometimes, and big money oftentimes doesn't stop out. And so, we've seen some losses. I mean, God, we watched on funny enough on Micron last year and a half ago, whatever it was, somebody they just flushed 15 million down the drain on some Micron calls. It was crazy. Welcome, welcome. I got a feeling we're gonna have like nobody in here tonight. So Husky, how you doing? I saw your name in voice chat today. I felt like I hadn't seen it for a while, but maybe I've just been missing it. Oh, it's good to see you around. Yeah, we can check Spy here in just a minute. Remind me, like I said, I mean, we're gonna see, how this class all plays out for us tonight. Like I said, probably small attendance. I'm just gonna talk a little bit in the beginning, kind of about what we did last year. And then, like I said, I want some feedback from all of you. That's what I'm hoping to get out of all of this. I probably, if I was smart, would have posted about it earlier in the day. Just because, we spent a lot of time in voice chats last year, like 900 hours, something like that, I think is what I had logged on it. And so we spent a lot of time in voice chat last year. A bunch of people are in there every single day. They know how I trade. And so that's what I wanted tonight was to hopefully get some feedback from people. We're going to talk about what we did. Like I said, I got maybe like 5 or 10 minutes of stuff to talk about. And then I want to get feedback from people. What do you like in, voice chat? What do you dislike in voice chat? Much more important is what do you dislike in voice chat? I want everybody to, be successful, realize they can do it, have some fun, hopefully. And so that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Likely not going to take the whole time by any means. And so we can just do some charting after that, or if you guys want to call it early, no big deal. But give me 1 second. Okay, so like I said, welcome everybody. Dirty River, happy to have you tonight. A little bit different of a class tonight. Just kind of doing our 2025 recap, talking about what we're going to do in 2026. And then, like I said, uh, you know, hopefully get some criticisms or, maybe not, but hear what you guys think of voice chat. And so with that, we are going to talk about, the trading that we did. And so, I'm not going to lie to you. I did this here a couple of weeks ago. So these numbers aren't going to be, exactly right. If anything, they're low, and so, because I think I didn't include December. I mean, I could include December on there, but I haven't yet. But so, up to November, we took a lot of trades. For anybody who doesn't know, or hasn't been in voice chat with me or anything like that, maybe you're new here. We do a bunch of scalping in voice chat. My personal opinion is we have plenty of alerts in OOT. We got multiple swing traders, we got all kinds of day traders, we got people talking on trade floor all the time. And so this is going to be funny to hear me say this and then get into the next part of it. I think we're like over trading in OOT. We're over alerting. We have, people start taking alerts from everybody and all of a sudden they got like 20 alerts writing. And so my goal in voice chat has always been scalps and then day trades. I and day trades that we're going to manage and we're going to be out by the end of the day. Hopefully we're going to be out within an hour or whatever it is. Those are what I want to focus on because we have plenty of swing trading, plenty of day trading. And so the main thing we do is we scalp SPY and QQQ. Serious double-edged sword there, because um, it's fun and we make some money and we have a pretty high win rate. And funny enough, I don't really recommend anybody does it. It's something that I enjoy doing. I like the market. I like trading the market. I like looking at charts. I like all of that. So scalping is something that I love. It's not necessarily something that people should focus on, but it's just something that we don't really have in OOT at all. Nobody else really scalps. And then a voice chat is just a very effective way to do it. I'm sure most of you have been in voice chats with me. Some of our trades are quick, sometimes a minute, sometimes we are in and we're taking our 25, 30%, real quick, and we are out by the end of 2 minutes. It can be very, very quick sometimes. It's definitely a much more advanced form of trading. Most people really struggle at it until you put in a lot of practice. So the voice chat just makes it a great way to be able to do that. It is also something where, many traders, when they start trading, they always just think in dollar amounts. It's why so many beginners find themselves in, SPX and Tesla and, these names they think they need, they think they need these like big dollar gains on every individual contract. But something that you learn over time in trading is that, position size should be consistent. You should have a scalping position size. You should have a day trading, a swing trading position size, and it should always be the same amount of money. Keeping it consistent is how you end up not blowing your port. And so always think of those position sizes in dollar amounts, and then always think of your return in a percentage of your total investment. So that's something where a lot of people struggle in voice chat, as people or in scalping in voice chat. As people have traded with me more and more, and they hear me say this all the time, and they talk about the trading and these gains adding up. People will be super happy on a $250 SPX contract that pays them 50%. They think it's an amazing trade. It is. It's a good trade. Nothing against it, nothing against a 50% trade at all. And then they'll see we're in SPY instead. And we make $8 a contract or whatever it is, but it's 50%. Well, our position size, we keep our position sizes consistent. It's $250. So you can buy your one SPX for $250 or your Apple or your Microsoft or whatever. And if that's your size, that's what you trade in SPY. So you have your $250 position in SPY. 50% on $250 is the same. No matter if it's on AT&T, Coca-Cola, Tesla, SPX, it doesn't matter. 50% return is 50% return. And so as people have learned more and more, that's what we do in Bush Chat. We scalp for smaller dollars, larger percentage. And it's if you keep your consistent sizing this, your position sizing the same, it's consistent gains over and over and over again. And if you're happy with a 30% trade on a $250 contract, why are you not going to be happy with a 30% trade on a cheaper contract? It is the same thing in the long run. And so with that, again, it's what I like to do. We've done a lot of it in voice chat. So just up to November, again, I guess I could probably pull up the other thing and look at it really quick. But now, whatever, I don't care. So just up to November, and as I was discussing over trading and OT, we had taken 849 trades this year. So ton of trades. That's what scalping does for you. It sounds like a lot of trades. We do 5 days a week in the voice chat. And then I typically do 3 to 4 hours a day. I normally will do a morning session and an afternoon session. So the hours really, really add up when you do it, when you do those hours every single day. We are in there for 750, 800 hours, whatever it is. Yeah, sometimes we're out of there quick. I love those days. Well, or I get bored and I don't love those days. But we're in there a lot every single day, generally multiple times a day. Obviously I miss days. Everybody's gonna miss days sometimes. But I'm always in there at least once a day. And so it basically works out to we take 2 or 3 trades a day. 2 or 3 trades a day though for 25 days, and all of a sudden you're at 75 trades for that month. And that is where the large number of trades comes from. So obviously we look at it and we say, hey, that's a bunch of trading. I'm also trading outside of that, so my number is substantially higher. It was ridiculous this year. So it is a lot of trades. However, our trades are very short and very fast. When I'm scalping, that's what I mostly we're doing in the voice chat. Like I said, I'm looking for 1 to 3 candles. That's about how long I want to hold them because we're trying to take advantage of the increased volatility. You want to enter scalps where you think a move is going to happen quickly. And so that's what we do. We might sit in voice chat for 2 hours and we might be in trades for 5 minutes total. And so you take a couple of trades that are quick trades, and those numbers will really, really, really start to add up. Of course, day trades, we're going to hold a little bit longer. We're going to let those work a little bit more, look for slightly larger moves because the contracts are more expensive. So we want to make it worth our while. And so that is what we've done in VC. Like I said, 849 trades by November. Win rate, funny enough, landed right at 80% on the dot up to that point. Like I said, I haven't added December to it. So we did really well. That is the next part of what I wanted to touch on in voice chat, or what we do in voice chat and how we scalp in voice chat. And it is the issue with scalping is oftentimes your risk reward ratios can get off a little bit. We all want to, risk 10% to make 50%, but the reality of it is a lot of the time we're going to be risking 20% to make 20%. It's going to be a lot of one-to-one risk reward ratios on trading. So the issue with that when it comes to scalping, and a big part of that is the volatility of we're trading same days, obviously. So small moves against you can really bring your contract down. Small moves in your direction can really bring the value of your contract up. So when we're trading something like SPY, oftentimes those, the risk reward ratio is going to be about 1-to-1. Our average return, month after month on trades is about 25%. Our average loss is about 15%. So we're basically hitting one risk, two reward trades nonstop. Well, the issue with the lower risk reward ratio is you need a higher win rate, because you have to think if you're trading one-to-ones all the time, that means if you take a loss on a trade, it takes you one more trade to get break even, and it takes you one more trade to get into profit. That's why if you're scalping, you need to be pretty consistent. You need to be willing to cut your losses fast. You need to take your gains fast. You need to take the money when it's shown. But the biggest part is you need that consistency. And that's where people start to struggle. They might be following the rules of cut your losses quick, try to take your gains quick. Well, sometimes it can kind of kill your port by a million paper cuts. You're trading smaller size, it's risky, but you start taking, one, two, three, four, five losses in a row, and all of a sudden you got a pretty big hole to dig yourself out of, or, come back the next day. You don't ever want to make bad decisions, but that is the risky side of scalping. If you don't really understand the market pretty well, especially on something like SPY QQQ. We can of course just trade the technicals on it, but we're gonna find a lot more success if we're being aware of what else is going on in the market. And I understand not everybody wants to do that. So I'm slowing down on this. So, moral of all of this story, we're going to slow down on the scalping a little bit in voice chat. I know, I love it. So we're still going to be doing it all the time. And, but I want people keep trying, and it's hard. That's one of the really tricky parts of scalping is that it's hard. Entry is beyond crucial. So I want to start to we're still going to do scalping. We're still going to be trading SPY and QQQ same days. They're super fun. No matter what, we're always going to do that. But a lot of people trade on their phones, and scalping is always going to be tricky for them. It's the way it is. I don't necessarily even recommend it if all you have is a phone. So what I'm going to start to focus on a little bit more, and as I said, don't worry, we'll still be like over trading like crazy and hitting same days and having a good time, is showing people how to properly trade some 1 DTE contracts. I know Nanda does it I won't say quite a bit, but some in the other voice chat. And I want to show people how I trade them and how we can kind of take advantage of, the market, some of the option Greeks, how we can still be trading affordable contracts for smaller portfolios. And so that's something that I'm really going to, focus on is going to be more, a little less, I don't want to say advanced trading, but a little bit more user-friendly trading. I understand that, not everybody has a computer, not everybody has great internet, not everybody just gets to click the mouse and be in and out, and so I want to start to show some of the other sides of what I do. And, I trade like this all the time. I'm often not talking about them nearly as much, because we're scalping a lot. But I think it can be something really, really good for people in the voice chat just to see that, you don't have to trade same days to take advantage of some scalps in the market. Obviously, your percentage gain is going to be slightly smaller, but dollar for dollar, you're going to be doing the same thing. And so that's what I want people to see is that you don't have to trade same days, and you can, in fact, find yourself a lot of safety by not trading them. Where there is a slightly different side to this type of trading, but it's so one of my big focuses in voice chat, you know, one of the reasons I love scalps and one of the reasons that I love some of the day trades that I alert on some of the, I'm not alerting Tesla, Microsoft, the stuff that just wrecks people, I want people trading things that they can actually make some money at. And so my focus has always been cheap contracts. I want every single person in the voice chat with me. I don't care the size of your portfolio. Don't get me wrong. If you're trading like $200, you're going to be over leveraged. There's no way around it. But I want everybody in my voice chat to be able to purchase these contracts without being over leveraged and start to learn the power of some, consistent gains and some safer gains. And so that's what they're really going to be able to do by trading those next day contracts. So we're going to do a little bit of learning about, Greeks and things like that as we're going through voice chat. But it's simple, we're doing the same thing. We're trading a slightly different contract, generally in voice chats where, we're, you know, a buck out of the money, $2 out of the money at most. We might be $2 or $3 out of the money on the next day contracts, but we get to look at the Greeks and know, you know, with a little bit more time to enter as well as exit, we'll be able to know how much are we going to make on this trade. And it's a little bit easier to do that when you're trading those next day contracts. And so obviously, like I said, we're still going to be scalping SPY like crazy and QQQ and everything and doing all that fun stuff. But I really want to start focusing on a little bit slower trades for people that are still affordable to everybody's portfolios. Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff I wasn't even looking at the chat.
Hey, River, since you're mentioning
Oh
looking for
God.
better contracts that are not too expensive, I mentioned that to Toasty the last class he had, uh, about like looking at names like Disney,
Yeah, we
Delta
do that. Northern,
Airlines.
we've been doing that, dude. Welcome to the train, dude. We've been trading Disney's, we've been trading AT&T's, Coca-Cola's,
Yeah,
Bank of America's. We've been trading that. Yeah. I heard you say that in Toasty's class. And yeah, dude, I encourage everybody to not trade SPY or QQQ. Somebody made a joke the other day. They said, I don't trade SPY and QQQ unless I have an adult and voice chat with me, making a little bit of a joke. I respect that attitude. If you don't have experience on these things, you're gonna have a really bad time. And so
yeah,
I love that, Norvin. Yeah. And even your whatever USB, trade those cheaper names. I'm so happy to see you actually taking some of those trades. Nobody cares about the nonsense you talk on, SPY or SPX or any of that, but take some of those trades you watch, and take some of these cheaper names. And I love to see you finally getting on board with that because, the biggest issue with SPY and QQQ is
the
when
volatility. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and when you're wrong and you get smacked.
yeah,
And if you aren't willing to say, okay, I'm out, and that's something that I've always been very lucky with. I don't struggle with trading psychology. When I'm wrong, I just stop out. Like
you know,
it's not hard. And a lot of people are like, oh God, oh, I'll just let it bounce a little bit. And one thing leads to another, and they're yelling at everybody on trade floor because they let their contract go to zero, like, and so
yeah,
so trading those other names and trading with some time, and you just have so much more peace. I mean, that's even me. I'm on Apple. I bought too early. I got it. We've been hitting it
uh,
long all week, but I swung long yesterday, unfortunately. And so, dude, I got gapped down on. No big
yeah.
deal. I mean, it happens. It
Talking,
happens.
yeah, talking about Apple today, I took a sick trade today on Dave's lows. I
Well,
hit
yeah,
some.
see, I unfortunately bought here, dude. I bought 261 yesterday.
Yeah,
However, I bought 256 today also. So
yeah, I did
I've
the
been there.
267.5. I got them from like a buck 14, and then I sold them at like 138, and
Yep.
then they went to like 180 at end of close. But it
Yeah,
was
it's
a sick
ripping.
trade.
Okay, well, Norvin, you got to be quiet, dude. We'll get back to you later. Okay, let's see what else. What else do we got in here? What kind of questions we got? What are you talking about? Literally, you last 2 months. Oh, paper cut death. That's real life. I mean, I'm serious. Like, I have, I'm lucky enough that I've worked with a lot of people in OT over the years. That's why I love voice chat because it's hands-on every single day, and I can tell you what and why to do it. Dude, I know people that have stopped out of whole ports. they're trying to use, 10% stop loss. Like, I'm sorry, if you use a 10% stop loss, you're getting stopped out of every single trade you take. And I have watched people stop out of their entire port. They're following rules, they're doing things right, but the stops are so tight that every single trade is a loss. And so you aren't alone in that. I'm not saying you do that necessarily. I do know that you like to wrench up your stops quickly, so, just maybe ease off a little bit, but it's not an uncommon thing to do that. Oh
River,
yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about right here when you're saying entry next is brutal. Yeah, that's good because I was talking about on the phone. It's hard on the phone. It's hard on the phone. More share plays, yeah, Crash Miss, and hopefully ones that aren't emergency buys, am I right? Um, yeah, Raphael, you know me, man. I am lucky on the side of trading psychology that I just stop out, I just stop out. It's the easiest thing. It's the like I like if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's it. And like I am very lucky that like I'll happily admit I'm wrong. And don't get me wrong, like you guys can see right here, like I got wrecked. Like I mean I got gapped down on. This happens like it happens. It happens to everybody. I am so far from perfect. We all take losses. It's just click the sell button. And something that I've always seen people struggle with is that when you click sell, the money is gone. And like it's not coming back. And a lot of people have trouble accepting that. The issue with them not accepting it is then they let all of the money go away and it goes to zero. Oh yeah, look at that, Norman. That's exactly what I was talking about. There you go. Sick hit. Good for you. Good for you. And you got love to see a non-cropped picture. Good for you on that one. Yeah, Josh switched to monthlies. Exactly. Like it makes everything so much easier. You know what I mean? Like, and I love what you're saying here. Scalps in VC with small size. I have a size that I like to scalp with, obviously, and that I normally scalp with. I have an average position size, but anybody who is trading in VC with me, I had one today. Where sometimes I just want to see if I'm right. And I'll buy like two contracts. I'll be like, I got $40 at risk, so I don't really care. And scalp should not be the big money maker. In my opinion, day trade should. And then, you know, day trades can fund some swing trades. But day trades is where I think a lot of people should focus. It's the safest of all trading. Day trading is the safest. Scalping is likely the riskiest. Swing trading, though, it's like neck and neck. I would personally say swing trading is riskier than scalping, but if you're following really good rules, scalping is probably safer than swing trading. But day trading and trading with time, is it should be everybody's bread and butter. And just that like I know the contracts cost more, which is why a lot of people won't trade with time. But one of the horrible things, and I've said it a million times, Tilio's been saying it for years. One of the things with options is there is never a worse feeling than being right on the move without enough time. And so that was me. Intel last week, I was beating the drum all this whole time by this dip on Intel. I at 3560, 3680. You can go find posts of me talking about this, buying this dip on Intel. I was buying this dip every day on Intel. I finally gave up on my contracts and the move came without me. So there's nothing worse than being, right on the move, wrong on the amount of time, and buying time solves all of that. Not to say when a trade is going really, really against you and you're swing trading, you should still be stopping out when you're wrong. But buying that time is very, very helpful. Uh, so ask me tomorrow in voice chat. We'll be doing it. We'll start tomorrow. So the thing with trading next day contracts, is that the volatility is going to be much lower. And so you can look at delta and, theta. So this isn't a Greeks lecture, so I'm going to keep it super short. Theta is a rate of change. When people say I'm getting theta burned, oftentimes they are not getting theta burned, because it's gradual over an hour, and like, if you got 30 theta for the day, say your theta is 30, I'm making a completely arbitrary number, 30 theta for the day. Actually, I'm going to make it even easier on myself. 24 theta for the day. Every hour your contract is losing $1. So when people are getting theta burned, really 9 times out of 10, what they're dealing with is a bad entry. They bought the middle of a range and they're getting chopped up. It's not that theta's killing them. It's that they just took a really bad entry. So it's going green, red, and that's actually reducing delta, reducing value of contracts gets really deep. But the advantage to buying the next day contract is the delta is going to be pretty accurate. And you aren't going to be having as dramatic of what is known as a gamma shift. That's what changes your delta. So you can look at the contract. You can say, okay, 25 delta. This thing costs $75. I'm looking for a $1 move. I'll make 25% or 33% rather. You can do that math really easy. And you've traded with me in Voice Chat all the time, obviously. Sometimes the entries they happen pretty quick, I'll say. So sometimes the entries in voice chat happen pretty quick. These ones, people will have much more time because they aren't having those explosions of Delta and IV and things like that. Ooh, Scotty, yeah, hopium gets everybody. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. 1K's talking about it right there. Yeah. And 1K does it all the time. He loves trading those next day contracts. And it's more peaceful. It's easier, easier entries, easier exits, like everything about it's kind of nice. Yeah,
River, I think.
Frankenstein. Oh yeah.
Oh,
What's up, Josh?
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think it would be cool. I don't know if 1K has time, but it'd be cool to do a couple like VCs with both of you guys together. Maybe taking some day trades, some scalps together. Because I think you guys, especially combined, you guys have a
With
really
who?
good with 1K.
Oh yeah, fuck, I'd love that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, dude, I'd love that, dude. 1K sneaks into the voice chat, but then he stays quiet. But do not underestimate him on scalping. He talks like he doesn't like it, but he's sick at it. Don't let him lie to you. But dude, yeah, one more 1K in PC, I would not complain. In fact, you guys should tell him to join the voice chat all the time.
No, yeah, he's a beast. He's helped me a lot lately.
Yeah, I love that guy, and I love 1K. We've been talking. He might have been here a little longer than me, but man, we've been talking for years now.
I would be very boring though, because I sit and I watch and I watch and I watch and I don't take a ton of trades.
Yeah.
Maybe three a day on my own and then one alert. I try and give you guys the best setup each day, but I I don't know, man. I don't like.
Well, dude, you're in there with me. Neither do I. We mostly sit there. And I mostly tell people I wouldn't buy that now, you know? But
Okay.
for the most part, we are sitting there doing absolutely nothing. So like, I mean, you know me, you can go find my quotes on Pro Trade for Normal Trade for 90% of being a trader, specifically a good trader, is doing absolutely nothing. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a million trades to be had in the market, but we joke about it. Me and 1K used to joke about it with one of our friends. Every candle entry, people think every candle of the day is just offering an entry. And sometimes you could kind of scalp a range. We did a little bit this morning, buying and shorting every candle. But what 1K is saying, like and like it's hilarious because like, I get told that I'm boring in there too. And like the funny thing about that is that's good trading. But people want the yelling and the screaming and the excitement. But that's just not me and 1K, dude. We want to just keep it real and like watch some charts and take some trades if they present themselves. But like, you don't always need to be hunting down a trade. But yeah, more 1K. Everybody tag
Hey,
him. Everybody
hey,
like,
River,
Stop
everybody
that.
tag him.
But
River.
JT.
oh, go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, I got to say this, man. When I first got in, I was trying to scalp and fucking up my port doing it.
Yeah.
But you wrote this suggestion for small ports, sticking with the slow movers and everything. And once I switched up to doing that, I got consistent. So like AT&T is one of my bread and butter uh, trades.
Dude, and dude, 1K, if you don't know, JT is done trading like 15 minutes after open every single day, dude. He crushes, dude.
Oh, I know. He's always like, "All right, I made my money. See you guys."
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Dude, it's so funny. He's like, "Hey River, how's it going?" I'll always just pull up the IWM chart and I'll be like, oh, it ripped. You're done for the day, huh? Yep, calling it here, And you had a big one, man. Congratulations. He told me he hit, I don't remember, 1,000% or something, 800% or something insane.
1,600%, man.
1,600%.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. Those are like, love
But
those.
real quick,
Congratulations.
River, but piggyback on what JT said, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it, dude? When you find what works for you, like the rest of the noise and the rest of the BS, like means nothing to you. Like you can have fun on trade floor, but it's like, we all talk smack about SPX, but like he found what works for him, and like he doesn't care about the noise because
No.
he knows what burnt him in the past, and he's like, it's like a kid touching the hot stove. It's like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
And the kid does it, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. It's like you
That's
know it doesn't work for you.
still happens. That was me. Like, congratulations, me. We are 8 days into the year. My year to date on SPX is red. I feel good about that. Starting the year off like normal, like it's not you got to learn what doesn't work for you and don't do it. And that's like 1K, and like I mean, you found what works for you and you hammer it. And that's like the most important thing, in trading, people need to build confidence. Of course, you don't want to build too much confidence too fast, but that confidence is going to come when you find something you like, not something that you're desperate to make money at. We see them in trade floor all the time, your SPX chasers, your Tesla chasers. Like, are those fun? And is that volatility fun? Sure. It's a loser's game, though. I mean, you aren't going to have longevity in the market. I got like one buddy in here, Jet. He's like the only one. That guy, he hammered Tesla harder than anybody walked away and hasn't looked back, and most people won't do that. Find what works and hammer it all day, every single day. Okay, let's see. I'm getting behind on these. Oh yeah, Frankenstein. Yeah. Uh, I don't like seeing deep red. And people in here, they have a much higher risk tolerance than me. People, I've talked about it many times. Greed is an interesting thing. Greed happens when people are big green, and greed happens when people are deep red. People somehow get more and more, like the more wrecked they are, the more confident they are in the trade. And that's just so wrong. I would so rather be like, okay, I'm done with this trade. I'm gonna find something new. Like it sucks looking at charts at night, being worried about swing trades or being like minus 60% on something in the middle of the day. And like, don't get me wrong, happens to me too, but like it's easier to just be done with it, Let's see. River, let's see. We got Nanda. Uh, so do I generally day trade with 1DTs? Yeah. Generally, if I'm going to be day trading SPY or QQQ and I want to hold it for a little bit longer, or I'm like, maybe trying to finance a couple of freebies for a sketchy swing, it's always going to be a 1DTE. It's oftentimes going to be a little bit more out of the money than people think you should. But if you're looking at Greeks, you can make it work for you pretty dang nice. Yeah, Raphael, exactly. IWM is it's friendly SPY, Like IWM is just trade. Well, okay, don't get me wrong. In like recent times, this is not normal IWM movement, but obviously in recent times, we talked about this move after FOMC. We knew they were going to come pile into this, and they had been piling into it. But it is so much friendlier, like it might go a buck against you, and it's going to take it a little bit to go a buck against you versus something like SPY that you can buy this thing and, you know, two candles later, you're a buck 50 lower. That hurts, and IWM much more friendly. Uh, what's the main difference between day trading and scalping? Day trading it's a longer trade. My rule of thumb on a scalp, I want to be in there for 1 to 3 5-minute candles. When I'm saying candle, 1 to 3 5-minute candles. I want to be right or wrong instantly. A day trade is, and so on a scalp, you're oftentimes going to have a relatively tight stop, pretty dang tight stop, and a relatively pretty tight price target. You want you want to be right or wrong instantly. Day trades, you're oftentimes going to widen that stop out a little bit and widen those price targets out a little bit, deal with a few more ups and downs throughout the day. ideal world, a day trade works for you in 30 minutes, but it might take longer than that. And so on a longer term day trade, you're going to let the market work. On scalping, you don't want to like buy calls and let them rip and let it dump and let it rip and let it dump and keep looking for a breakout. A scalp, you want to go point A to point B and be done with the trade. Yeah, Avenger, exactly. Boring, boring, boring. Could you walk us through setups on your downtime? Yeah, anytime. Yeah. If there's not something going on in VC and I'm just quiet, ask a question, please. I absolutely I encourage that. I would love for you to ask any questions. I try to say that all the time in voice chat, of course we're there to trade and to potentially take some trades. But I want everybody to learn. Maybe not great for business, but the ideal thing in OOT is you figure it out and you don't really need us anymore. I love teaching. I love giving alerts. I love making money with you guys. I love losing money with you guys. We're having a good time all the time. But I want people to learn to trade. That is the most important thing to me. It has always been the most important thing to me. I encourage everybody to put in the work to learn a little bit. If I can do it, any of you can do it. I got no formal training in any of this, none of that. I'm, self-taught. So if I can figure it out, you guys can all figure it out. And so that's what voice chat is for. And so with that, we've been yapping a little bit, but I got nothing else to say officially. Norvin's already sent us like 30 stocks that he wants to look at. But I want to open it up to everybody else in here. Any questions about voice chat? Any comments about my trading? Criticisms are what I want. Anything you don't like, please let me know. We got 24 of us in here, so not a huge class or anything like that. But any issues, anything that you don't like in voice chat, anything that I do, sorry, I got a foul mouth. That ain't changing. But if anything with the trading that you like, you don't like, do you hate the scalps? Do you want more day trades? Do any of you have anything to say?
River, I'll chime in.
Yeah.
So I love the scalps personally. I think they're a little bit fast. I do most of my trading on the phone. I do think it would be cool to do some more like day trades together in VC. I know we have done a bunch of like AT&Ts and um, other stuff, but I also found that applying some of the principles you use in scalping on like day trades and swings tend to work for me also pretty well. But
Absolutely. And that's what I tell people all the time. When you analyze a chart, I don't care if it's the 5 minute, the hourly, the daily, it doesn't matter. We're looking for the exact same things for trades, regardless of time frame, regardless of any of that. I love a three push wedge on the 5 minute. I love a three push wedge on the daily. It's all the same. The only difference between planning those day trades and those scalps, the biggest difference is contract selection. That's the only thing that really changes for me. I like that you brought this up. It's something that I'm going to discuss a little bit in Mastermind. We hear it all the time, buy the dip. Well, that doesn't mean buy every red candle. We still want the charts to give us a reason. So I was even talking about this with a friend the other day, and we might have a location on the chart where, say, we want to buy the dip. Well, we still need that intraday chart to tell us what to do. So we might be looking at a knife on the daily. We might be coming into the level that we want to buy. And then intraday, maybe we're going to set a little three push wedge at the bottom of the mark, on the bottom around our level where we can say, okay, I can scalp from right here, or I can put on my day trade, or I can put on my swing trade because the market is now showing me on the shorter time frames a potential reversal forming for the longer time frames. So it doesn't matter what I'm looking at, what I'm trading, we can do the same, we can do the same things. One of the big reasons, and you and I have talked, a ton. One of the things about voice chat for me and kind of what I touched on a little bit earlier is affordability. I want everybody to be able to get into trades. And so I might hit some, Apple calls or some Microsoft calls or some Amazon calls that are $250 contracts. I don't necessarily want to alert those as much because I know how people get when it comes to alerts. And so that has always been one of my bigger holdups on alerting some of the day trades or swings that I take is just that they're a little bit more expensive. And so, but you're in voice chat all the time. I mean, for sure, we can start talking some more day trades. I can start recommending them. Uh, uh, you know, I would love to do that. Trading, I love talking trading. So, and you're in there all the time. So feel free to bring them up.
Yeah. Also, I
Bro, what
think
do you think about some AMD calls?
Sorry, Norman, I had to mute you. What were you saying, Josh?
um I think it would also be good to kind of post a guideline. I know you've been doing this for a long time, so you've probably learned what's the right size allocation. So, like maybe a percentage of each person's portfolio, what would be appropriate for a swing, for a day trade, for a scalp.
Yeah,
Um,
so yeah,
you
I
know,
can actually, I've talked about it some in lectures, and I also have some things written up. So when I'm scalping, I'm personally using about 2.5% of the port. I also want to point out I reset my port every single month. So I'm doing about 2.5% of the port. Or if it's risky, I make it very clear of like, hey, I'm buying two of these. I could be dead wrong. But generally speaking, it's going to be about 2.5% of my port. A day trade is generally going to be about 5% of the port, but I'm never going to take the whole position. I'm always going to leave myself room to buy one or two contracts. Of course, depends on the trade and the price of the contracts. I'm always going to leave myself a little bit of room on a day trade where I can add a couple more if the price gets, to a point that I still like it. Swing trade, they can get a little bit bigger, the position size. Not because I think the position size should be increased, but because contracts cost more money. Like that's the only reason that the position size goes up a little bit for me on a swing trade. However, if I'm taking a swing trade, 99% of the time, half position. It just makes sense. And I know people talk about in here averaging into strength. If you're down, you want to average when once the reversal has started. That's not me. I want to average down as close to my stop out as I possibly can. So and like if that means I am buying a knife and I'm in calls, I am buying a knife at the stop out. Because that's what my plan will almost always be. And so it's still never like it will rarely be 10% of the port for me. And I don't trade with a bunch of money. Like I said, this is my job. This is what I do every day. And so I reset the port every month. That's pay, that's my pay. And so I just keep the position size basically the same all the time.
have you ever wondered like what would happen if you let the port just kind of keep growing?
It would be large, but I have to pay for things.
No, no, but yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it
I
would
just
be,
wish we could give you like a little hedge fund, you know?
it would be large. But it wouldn't change anything. Like that's like it wouldn't change anything. Like I would still be doing the same thing. I'd size down. Pork grows, size down. That's the answer. Pork grows, size down. Always use less to make more. It should be everybody's goal, no matter the size of your port. So let's see. River face cam. Yeah, that ain't ever happening. That ain't ever happening. See, if you focus on trades like KO Disney and T, the exact same thing. I'm assuming you're talking about because I was saying I'll treat all charts the same. I don't care if you're charting Apple. I don't care if you're charting Tesla. I don't care if you're charting AT&T. I don't care if you're charting AMC. You chart it all the same. All charts are treated the same. Um, we want to look for repeating patterns in the market. I'm not talking bull flags, bear flags. I'm saying the market does X, Y, and Z, and oftentimes this can happen. We want to look for those in the market, and we don't care what the chart is. And then, as I said, we don't care 5 minute, hourly. We're always looking for the same things. And then we're doing kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, top-down analysis, whatever you want to call it. We start on the dailies, and then we work to the shorter time frames, and then we let the shorter time frames tell us when to enter. A class on the HR script, the hourly 20 script, that one's sick, huh? The life changer. This line right here is all you need. So exact times for the voice chats are tricky. So Nando and I both do them. I do them. We've obviously both been busy for the last month. We'll both be back to, our full times. We will alternate. So generally one of us will do pro, one of us will do premium, morning and afternoon. And then we swap. And so mine, I'm normally in there shortly after market open, 5 minutes. Sometimes if there's, data or things like that, I'll hold off a little bit. But generally I'm in there pretty early. Nando, he normally jumps in about a half hour after market open. He likes to not trade in the half hour after market open. Very, very good decision. Let's be real here. Fully support that. And then in the afternoons, well, it depends. There is no official time, but generally an hour or two before market closes. Like today, I jumped in, I don't even know. We had an hour and a half left, hour and an hour, I don't know. So just kind of sometime in the afternoon.
Dude, market open on individual names sometimes can work really well.
Really
So,
good or really bad. That's the this one.
I think,
Apple was a
yeah,
great
no,
example of
Apple
it
is
this
tough.
morning. Ripper.
Apple is
Good
tough.
night. Yeah. So that's
I'm talking about more like things that are breaking out of bases. Like Intel kind of did that this week. MU, I think, MU did that a couple of days
MU's done it
ago.
every day, whatever that SNDK. This one's been just
SanDisk, yeah, the crazy start to the year. They were up like 500% last year.
exactly, yeah, largest gain in the S&P. At least I think. I don't know. I saw it like a couple weeks ago, so maybe that's wrong. But
No, I think it's correct. It's like 500 something percent.
Yeah.
But you see, it was kind of coming out of its base, and then that breakout came, and it just went flying.
Yeah. Let's see. Have I done a class on volume for scalping? No, but I should because like people do not understand volume. Like every time somebody says, "Oh, low volume day, this sucks," it makes me want to jump. That's not. I should do a class on volume. But man, actually, so we got the guy in here, Assassin. Uh, love him. Or Infinity, sorry, I use his old name. So this is his volume script. This thing down here. Oops, not that one. This one down here. I believe he shared it. I'd have to ask him. Man, it's great. It really is. Like, this is a nice, easy one to understand that tells you, like, okay, who is in control and are they keeping control? And it's a piece of cake to look at. You see where those switches happen, and so it's really cool. I know I shared this one, but I should go over it. I should do one.
River, can you go over AMD?
Norvin, can you not tell that we're talking about other things tonight? God, I fucking love you, bud. You're so funny. Yeah, so normally I do a lot of end of days, no matter what. I'm almost always in there end of day. It's just been kind of touch and go for the last, month or whatever with holidays and stuff. Um, Yeah, well, so that is the thing about what you're saying right there, and that is one of the issues in voice chat. So, and with scalping specifically, entry is everything. So that is why I always say what contract I have pulled up ahead of time. You will virtually never have a trade where I'm like, oh shit, pull up spy calls, buy them right now. I want those things ready because I want to buy at the best price well, what I think is going to be the best price I can buy it at. So that's why I tell you what to have up, and then I say something like, okay, I'm trying those spies at this price. And that's where I buy it. And so scalping is always going to be a little bit tough. And you're gonna miss them. That's all there is to it, unfortunately. And so I I try to be I try to be as direct as I can, but no matter what, sometimes they're just going to be too fast. But it all goes back to that, I'm always going to be patient. I'm always going to be boring, and I'm always going to sit and wait for the best entry that I can. And unfortunately, oftentimes when that best entry shows up, it's going to be, I mean, like, it's not like I traded this, but this sell down to here, like this is a prime example of the type of thing I would buy. Hourly 20 VWAP, big support from earlier in the day. Like this is a buy to me. Broke below the 50 EMA, but who cares? This to me is a buy. I'm gonna buy right here. Look how this candle closed. So there wasn't, let's see, we can even probably go to the 1 minute. So here we go. We would have been buying as close to the hourly 20 as we could. It didn't even spend a whole minute down there. And then for the next 2 minutes, it never went back down. So that is going to be an issue with scalping. No matter what, it's going to happen fast. And because we want to be buying candles that look like this, but in an ideal world, we're buying them while they're still nice and deep red. We aren't chasing it up here. Of course, the chase up there worked in the long run, but we want to buy these kinds of things. Man, I'm just looking at this and realizing like this was like actually a pretty sick trade right here that I definitely like would have taken this trade. Yeah, that's a sweet one. So unfortunately, it's always going to be tough. And I also am never going to be like hammer it, like that just ain't me.
Yeah, I
You know,
always find these names and I'm like, maybe I'll buy like one weekly contract. The next day it goes up like 25%.
exactly. It's just insane. Yeah. Hourly 20 EMA. Yeah, I like the hourly 20 EMA. That's what this stair steppy one is. And I do have lectures on it. If you go find them, they're normally going to be called like unique indicators or indicators I like or something like that. I always talk hourly 20 and VWAP because they're my two favorite indicators. They're the ones that I use, all day, every single day. I got the 50 EMA on here. It's more for that like defined trend, It's not often I'm going to use it as a take a trade off it, but I'll target, something like if we were, trying to short like a little like wedge top up here, the target's gonna be that 50 EMA. Obviously it goes lower, but we're gonna be targeting the 50 EMA. So I like to use it more as a target and a trend definer than anything else. But hourly 20 and VWAP, man, I take trades off those all the time. Oh, so I was in pro this afternoon. Um, I don't know why. Oh, because the market was super boring. So I wasn't even gonna get in there. It's because this was going on. But then we did luck into some spy calls on that ripper there. It was a good one. The SPY end of days did work for us. We had a couple good ones on this. The QQQ's end of days also worked. And man, of course, remember I was like, oh dude, they're gonna rip QQQ after it close. Like I was trying to catch that 621 break so bad. And like this is the candle where contracts close. And then they start ripping it. Like, what are you guys doing to me? Did me so dirty right there. That was 1,000%er if they could have done that 20 minutes earlier. Okay, well, if that's gonna do it, Norvin, it is so pro members, the big difference between pro and premium, pro has a few more analysts and more voice chat time. So like I said, generally like if I'm doing the morning in pro, Nando's doing premium. If and then in the afternoon we're going to switch. So if I do pro in the morning, I'm doing premium in the afternoon. And so it's just, maybe you like trading with Nando more than me. Great, or maybe you like trading with me more than Nando. It's so you can have more VC time with the person you want. But then, me and Nando, we both know everybody in OOT. And so we like to trade with everybody. And so we like to swap between them both. But it's just, so maximum VC time is kind of the goal. A lot of us in here kind of focus on, you know, we focus on keeping everybody happy if we can. And a lot of the traders in here focus on voice chats. I mean, we of course the pro one's smaller, but we normally got 50 people or so in there, and then the normal premium one's gonna have 100 people, and those are, or something like that. And those are the more active traders in here. There's a lot of quiet folks in here that do just take the alerts and stuff as well. But voice chats where a lot of people hang out and a lot of trading occurs in there. Okay, and so now that we are done, Norvin, it is your time to shine.
Thank you.
What stock are we looking at, Norvin?
We're gonna look at a good setup here, a falling wedge
Falling
on
wedge. Okay.
AMD.
Hey,
Good level. It hit it. I think it's been going down a bit, but it finally hit this level. I don't know if I'm a little bit too early or should I wait at the 200, 201. It's pretty
yeah, it's
much
come
there.
down a bit, down 13% in 4 days.
Yeah,
Look
so
around.
I like these trades because they're like kind of stress free. Your stop is at the bottom. Uh, we've seen it hit that level a few times and it bounced right off of it, just like magic, you know. Another one too, Intel. I'm looking to
Hold
short
on,
that.
Norvin. We haven't even got through AMD yet. What are you doing here, Norvin? You gotta calm it down, okay? Let's see. What do we got going on AMD? Holding the gap top. Fucking, don't you guys love Norvin? If anybody's not sticking around, thank you for being here. I appreciate you for being here as always. But God, Norvin, love this guy. Love this guy. Wow, Norvin, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Bing bong.
I am not gonna lie to you, Norvin. We are bing bonging right here. This is a pretty good trade.
Oh, he's not going to shut up about it tomorrow if it goes.
Oh my God, dude. Well, yeah, I'm probably gonna tell him it's a good trade and it's gonna just
So
fuck.
Make sure
check
you
this out.
mark a little circle where he said get enter.
So
Okay.
check this out, River. So there's two contracts I'm looking at. There's a 116 220 call or the 227 123 expiration. The interest on that one.
I don't care about any of that. I
Hold
wouldn't
on.
go. I'd go for a 220 because it's gonna be your
Yeah.
top of the range. I'd give it a few weeks. I'd be trying to buy at 203. And then I would be trying to buy more at 200, and then I would be stopping out under 200. And first target, pretty cut and dry, it's going to be right up here to where all this little, calamity was going on. So anywhere bounce up into here. So you're going to be looking, what, $3 risk for maybe you get 10 upside. That might cause a little trouble right there. And
Yeah.
$3 risk for 8 to 10 upside, and then if you get the miracle and AMD does AMD things, you got some more up from there. But I'd be targeting, that 20 SMA right there. But man, I gotta say,
You know where I got this level from, River?
well, if you got it from anywhere but this gap
From right
right
there,
here,
yeah.
if you
Even
got it
though
from anywhere but here, you're wrong,
even
sir.
though it's red, there's still like those unfilled orders. I know for a fact.
That's a good, yeah. And I mean, they've tried to get us down into there, and this one wanted to hold it. This one wanted to hold it. This one didn't. This one tried, and they got us back over it.
All right, I'm
Nice.
like, all right, guys, this is
Wow,
enough. Too
Norvin.
many hits. It's time to shine now.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. Told Norvin to buy. Okay, we got it. We're gonna have it on here.
And then you
So,
said you missed the Intel long. We're at a short, bro. Let's short Intel here, bro. It's like
I mean, I get what you're saying, but dude, I just can't short that thing, dude. I just can't short that thing. Oh, okay, I take it back. I totally would have
you see
shorted
how
it.
it hits it every time on the top of the range, and then
Yeah.
it's rejecting. So it's
I
like
see
barely
that. But now
forming.
you don't short it because this is a ball. This is a ball move up here, like I mean this thing that loves to ride its trends. There you go. I mean, you should be dip buying at 40, 41.
Yeah, but yeah, AMD and Apple are my two picks for some swing trades,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
I'm
that's pretty
on
much it.
Apple. I like this candle today, I'll tell you what. But 260, 260.
Yeah, that's
I
the
mean,
same level I
I
got
sold a
too.
couple at a loss. I sold a couple into class. I mean, I was too good of a breakout and a rip. What about Microsoft?
Yeah,
Dude, that's the other thing, dude. That's like, I mean, those are like if I had to pick my two tech names that I'm the most bullish on. Okay, well, like, I mean, obviously like
then
Amazon and Google, but like if I had to pick the two tech names I'm the most bullish on, it's gonna be Microsoft and Apple. This is probably gonna come back to bite me, because they're just lagging. And like it's not like anything's going wrong for them. Like Apple's the most valuable company on the planet or something like that. And so like not just stock market value, like actual value of things they sell, And so I mean, and Microsoft, the unbeatable, the front runner for quantum AI masters. Like, I mean, I can't figure it out.
yo, remember fun fact about Apple? Um, what a coincidence! Warren Buffett is stepping down from his role, and now Tim Cook is about to do the same thing. Like, what?
Well,
Are they going on vacation or what?
Warren Buffett is 99 years old, bro. I think he can take like a break. I mean, maybe he's not
Bro,
actually
yeah, he's a
99, but like,
fucking legend.
bro he's been working every day for 70 years. I think he deserves a break. He deserves a break. And dude, they like, I mean, dude, they did like, look at what they did on the way out. Look at what they did for Google. Like, I bet you this is Buffett's buy. I don't know, or like where not Buffett's buy, but where Buffett announced the buy. I'm willing to
Yeah.
bet that was it, you know? And
That's
so,
how I feel about Nike, dude. Even though I know you hate it,
no,
um,
I'm in there. No, dude, I'm in there. We got reason. We finally got reason
you
to be in.
finally got, yeah, Tim
Yeah.
Cook.
The
He
the
got
CEO
his Air
said
Forces.
things, and CEO said things that I was actually like, hey, that's like, they might be heading in the right way. So I got shares at $60. Only 10, but had to. Why not? You know? Yeah. Okay, well, we're calling it here. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yo, River, can you check a bank before you leave?
Nope. Thanks though, Norvin. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, everybody. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for the comments and the feedback. As everybody knows, always DM me if you got any other comments, feedback, anything like that. And we will catch you all tomorrow morning. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you later.